Hello everyone, thanks for joining me, your host, Rems Mabote, for this installment of the 2022 Engen Pitch Polish competition. Last week, the first two Blue Group contestants, Notando Kowa and Siraj Adams, delivered their pitches to our judging panel. Tonight, we see the final two pitches from the Blue Group and who will be staying and who will be going. I have to say, these elimination episodes are so tough, and I'm not even the one who has to tell a contestant they'll be leaving us. This year's contestants have been so good, and I have been rooting for all of them. But I will definitely say I've got my favorites. Still, we have to say goodbye to two of them tonight. First though, as I promised last week, tonight we'll be catching up with Khomolemo Motswane of Urban Mobility, who came second in last year's competition.
Going into the competition, there were a bit of doubts, naturally. You know, when you have a business and it's still small, you're not so certain about a couple of things. But after the competition, it gave us a lot of confidence. In terms of us, pushing on and continuing the hard work and knowing that we're in the right path. And myself, it has helped me on a personal perspective because I believe I'm a better refined entrepreneur now. I've sort of learned to understand my business inside out and not just know or manage the surface stuff, but actually going into intimate detail about knowing the business, knowing your numbers, and knowing actually what your business is about, your identity. And that's the whole point, knowing about who you are. So I know you're asking me about financial controls because how strict the judges were during the competition. We've moved into this office block mainly because we want to have better control of a key component like our finances. Because our office block here is so central to Pretoria and Gauteng, it helps us to have a bird's eye view of our operation. We're able to see our motorbikes where they are from a central location and have more management in terms of our riders, having them, if they have issues wherever they are, they're able to come to a central point instead of traveling all the way from maybe Johannesburg to Pretoria. Now they just have to come here and we'll deal with whatever is going on. So having an office space that's not core to our business might not seem like a great idea, but here's the reason why we're here. Over here we've got a company who's selling cookies. Over here we've got a salon. Over there we've got a laundromat. And down there at the corner we've got a restaurant. All these companies need our services. And we have 10 other rows of similar companies. And that's why that's smart business. So we are trying to be smarter in the running of our business. And we have implemented the recommendations that the judges gave us during the competition, as tough as some of the critique was. And this has really helped us in terms of growing our business. And we have grown from strength to strength. So for this, we really like to thank Engen, Nedbank, and Race Corp for this wonderful opportunity of a lifetime. And we hope to see you guys in 6 months' time when our business is even bigger and better.
Now there's an entrepreneur who's seriously passionate about what he's doing. His enthusiasm is so contagious. Will either of our next two contestants display similar levels of passion? Let's meet the first one to find out. Another contestant from KwaZulu-Natal, Luvo Kukwana, is the owner of Green Arch Innovations. Let's see how he stacks up against our other contestants from KZN.
Hello judges.
Hi Luvo, how are you feeling?
A bit nervous, but I'm ready to give it my best.
Luvo, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pitch and polish.
In rural communities, we depend on our piece of land for a livelihood. That's for both income and food security. However, the context becomes different when this only piece of land we have is too dry and depleted. This is further exacerbated by the frequency of bad weather conditions, such as drought and climate change. This does not only threaten our food security, but it, however, threatens the sustainability of small-scale farmers in South Africa, and I was one of them. My name is Luvo Kukwana, the founder of Green Arch Innovations. We design, construct, and franchise aquaponics systems as an alternative to traditional farming methods. We've designed a unique franchising approach where we finance 100% of the setup of the system, and we enter into a 60-40 shared percent ratio with our farmers for a period of 3 years in order for us to recover our setup cost. Currently, we have 3 revenue streams. One is by setting up these systems, and also by selling the production inputs, and also collecting and selling the produce to the market. This system creates a continuous ecosystem with us and our franchisees. To upscale our projects, we want to grow from 1 project to 50 projects, and this is only a fraction of 100 farmers that we have in our database. Judges, we have a vested interest in our farmers, and we've created an ecosystem that would really love you to be part of. Thank you.
Thanks, Luvo. Good timing. Let's start with you, Bolela.
Thank you, Luvo. Very refreshing. Your competitors, who are they and which ones are you most worried about?
Okay, currently we have 2 competitors, but I'm not really worried about them. Okay, so what makes us different from our competitors, one, we have vested interest in our farmers, and we buy back the produce and then sell to the market. In that way, we're creating a long-lasting ecosystem between us and our farmers. Our current competitors, they're only selling the production, the inputs to design the system, and they're not into the uptake agreements with their farmers.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so that sounds like your unique selling proposition relative to the competition. Can you talk us a little bit around some of the numbers? Did you say you have 1 project on the go at the moment?
We have 3 current projects.
3?
Yes, we have 3 projects. So our system covers 300 square meters, and there's a production capacity of 6,000 fish and 800 plants, with a total market value or the revenue potential of 400,000 rands after production cycle of 12 months.
Is that per project or?
That's per project.
Per
yes,
project.
Per project.
So 50 projects would give you, I don't know.
50 projects will give us a revenue potential of 12 million rands annually. Net profit of 12 million rands.
A net profit of 12
Net profit
million
of 12 million rands, yes.
But that 400,000 rand you mentioned in terms of production, that's not net, that's production, right?
The 60,000 is the number of fish we have in our system, but the revenue is 400,000 rand from our projects.
Okay, I think I've got you. So
yes.
The profit is the difference between the 60 and the 400. Is that what you're saying?
So the production capacity is the number of plants that we have, plants and fish,
yes,
with a total market potential revenue of 400,000 rands.
Okay.
The profit for that is 300,000 rands. But if you times that by the 50
okay,
franchise system that we can have, it would push our revenue to net profit of 12 million rands.
Okay, so that's 50 times 300.
50 times 300, yes, that's
okay,
net profit.
Okay, so just then, how do you get from 3 projects to 50 projects? I guess that's the big question.
Okay, so I've mentioned that we have a loop database of 100 farmers within our database that are willing to take up our franchise system. Already we have more than 100 interested farmers to take up our projects. But however, we've projected for 3 years that from that 100, only take 50 within the 3 years.
Okay. I think, and then we need to get an answer on how the 650,000 rand would be put to use.
Okay, so currently we want to integrate IoT systems. So it will help us to optimize and collect data from all our franchise system. And also we here for mentorship that will help us to refine our model, also to attract other financing partners for us to upscale our project.
Thank you.
Luvo, just in terms of your background, why you in this?
I've had the first-hand experience being a small-scale farmer, and the challenges of soil nutrition, and also the landscape as well, not really allowing us to produce commercially. As a result, we're excluded from the commercial market because of the quality of the produce that we get from this piece of land. However, now by bringing this alternative solution that allows us to breed massive volumes of fish, plus quality organic fresh produce from a controlled environment, it guarantees now an outcome.
Now you're talking about the product. I want to talk about you. What's your background other than farming?
Okay, so my other background is in medical sciences, right? But when we medical sciences and we got to the innovation of aquaponics through university, where I was part of the Engen Pitch program and I was the president for duty. And my first project was the Aquaponics project, because I was part of the community engagement program at the university. That really challenged us to bring solutions to rural communities, and I was the first person to introduce aquaponics system, and then for that it became a project that was upscalable. As a result, I opened my own franchise or business to upscale these projects for rural communities.
Thank you, Luva. That was what I wanted to hear. You may leave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think there's something in this for sure. And I mean, I think he looked a little defeated when he walked away. But I thought his pitch was pretty good. There was definitely nerves there.
Yeah.
But if, this does sound like something, if the numbers are what he says they are, then it's something that could stack up really nicely. He's obviously very bright.
Very.
There's a lot of strong intellect in there.
Yeah.
Needs to be a bit more confidence.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
No, I agree with Alan, but I think also I can understand why he walked away looking a bit defeated, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't think it went that well. And direct feedback, that's based on both of your energies. And obviously you're doing what we're here to do, but I think that's the reason why he might look like, okay, did I do well, didn't I? But I think he was brilliant. I think he knew his stuff. He has the right qualifications, background, passion. The why is in the right place for this business. And yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch how this develops.
Yeah, I also think he did better than he thought. And you're right, it is our job to push through. I just think his big mistake was not bringing his authority up. He's a young entrepreneur that's going to count in some people's eyes, and he needs to bring his authority as the way to compensate for that, to say, I know what I'm talking about, because if he's in that environment, they're going to say, what do you know? So he's got the practical, he needs to mix that and say, listen, I know what I'm doing, I'm a scientist, I know what I'm doing, I'm smart, like I'll get that. So, and he's going to need that if he's going to pick up finance.
Yeah, he will need it. And I think it's great that he's already looking at a program like this as an opportunity to be mentored. And perhaps those are the opportunities to mentor him at. But, standing in front of judges and asking for money, that also the distribution of power in that conversation obviously doesn't lend itself to coming with your authority. Exactly, exactly.
But he's going to have to experience that.
Yeah, and that's the
life.
opportunity of the program.
Yeah. Great. Let's mark.
Luvo, congratulations on your pitch. By the way, you're the second person to finish before the time is up. How did you feel?
I think about the time, actually I was happy with that, because when I did my series of training, I think at some point I was pretty much 2 minutes late, but however, to finish before that time, it made me comfortable, because it meant that I was able to fit in my presentation within the allocated 90 seconds.
And at the end of that, you were asked 1 million questions. Do you feel you answered those questions adequately?
I think 80% of the questions I answered them adequately, especially about how our project works and how our system works. I think the other question that I might not have answered really well was on my background, because I think I had so much to say emanating from how my project developed. But with the questions, I think I've covered 80% of what the judges were looking for in terms of understanding the concept and what we do as an enterprise.
So you think you're on the money?
That's what we're here for. You're in it for nothing.
I wish you money.
Thank you so much, man.
We've reached the bit where we give away a prize to one of you. What is it, you ask? A take-a-lot voucher worth 5,000 Rand, of course. I'm sure I don't need to tell you what to do, but it's my contract to tell you what to do. Ichop. What kind of system does Luvo offer as an alternative to traditional farming methods? What kind of system does Luvo offer as an alternative to traditional farming methods? If you post the right answer on the Pitch and Polish Facebook page before midnight tonight, you'll go into a random draw. We will post the name of the winner on the same Facebook page tomorrow, so do check back. In the meantime though, we need to move on to our final pitch for the evening. Let's meet Xolani Mtambo, the owner of Nuvo Modo and one of the 2 contestants representing the Eastern Cape this year. Let's see how he makes out in front of our judges.
Good morning.
Hi, Xolani. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you feeling?
Excited? Nervous at the same time?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pitch and polish.
Greetings. I am Golani Mdambo from Nueva Modo, the nanomaterial cleaning technology specialist. Electrical and electronic equipment is susceptible to dust and grime over the long period of operation. This affects the equipment reliability, operational efficiency, and ultimately the revenues for the equipment operators. Traditional cleaning techniques have been found to be inefficient, unsafe, and most often results to secondary problems. And therefore, maintenance in this space tends to be avoided. Nueva Modo have acquired exclusive sales, distribution, and training rights for the nanomaterial cleaning technology solution. The technology was designed to clean live electrical equipment up to 500 kilovolts. We have experienced a repeat. We have received a number of inquiries that confirms our growth potential in the market. The technology itself, on application, leaves the equipment with a gloss coating that is both dust repulsive and hydrophobic, thereby giving the equipment the longevity that it needs, reducing maintenance cost and replacement cost. We have managed to commercialize the equipment, the technology within the African context, and we are experiencing record growth. In the current financial year, we have already turned over 500,000 with a gross profit of 40%. Winning this pitch will help us to implement our growth plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Xolani. That was very interesting. I don't know that I understood everything about it, but it was interesting nonetheless. Who are your customers?
My customers is everybody that has got electrical equipment as part of their core business, or that use electrical equipment to produce their services. But my immediate target market is the heavy industry operators that will realize immediate benefits from this, because they tend to produce a lot of impurities that contaminate their electrical equipment, which then affects the performance. So to name a few, maybe Eskom power stations, Sasol, the mines, mineral processing factories, etc. But then we will gradually go into other small operations like your retails, aviations that do not generate as much contamination in their operations.
Great, thank you. And your strategy to get your product out into the market, how are you going to make sure that those customers that you're targeting are well aware of what your product offers?
So we have embarked on a marketing campaign. Our product is, our demonstrations are on LinkedIn. We have actually subscribed to the Sales Navigator, where we've got direct contact. We target decision makers. And then we also do cold calls to managers in factories and power stations. We've done a number of jobs already, and we have seen that we lack in terms of the sales, and we have employed a sales representative that is a runner on the ground to tell them about the technology, and then we then go there to demonstrate. Our demonstrations are normally free as part of our marketing campaign.
Great, and how big is your team?
Currently I've got a 2 team. There is 4 people per team. But we have realized that in the market, the market is just too big for us to grow a team that rapidly. So we've embarked on a strategy to also bring in other SMMEs as strategic partners, and then assign specific parts of the market within the South African context. But we have the same strategy to grow into Africa, because our sales exclusive and distribution rights cover the whole African market. And we've been already in talks with other people who are interested within the continent.
Thank you, Xolani.
Thanks, Xolani. So I'm guessing that's the product in the bottle next to you?
That's correct.
Is the product itself produced locally, or is that brought into the country?
It is imported.
Okay.
But we've got the exclusive rights to import it.
Okay.
And the market is locked up only for us in the African continent. So anyone that goes and reaches out to the original equipment manufacturer gets referred back to us, and we help them.
And is there a competitor for that product in the country, or because I guess I know you've got the exclusive rights for that product, but is there a competing product?
Yes.
here?
So see, I think our competition can be anyone who does cleaning. A lady with a feather duster can also clean, but their cleaning on live electrical equipment is unsafe. And for them to clean, they have to switch off, and it means downtime for either for the IT company, for Vodacom. But if we come with a solution that we can do it live, it maintains uptime for them. But there's other technologies that can act potentially as substitutes, like your dry ice cleaning. But again, dry cleaning, you cannot do it online. And also dry ice cleaning has got some disadvantages because it's ice that's crushed or frozen carbon dioxide. It tends to pit or corrode your equipment. So sensitive equipment is not good for them. So their scope is only limited to at least high voltage or non-sensitive equipment. But then again, you have to have a period of cooling because ice is water, and water and electricity are not friends. So there's at least a 48-hour delay because it has to completely dry out before you switch off. So this one, in instances where we cannot work live, we can switch off, but immediately when we're done, there's no drying period. You can switch on and continue your operations.
Great. I've got one more question, if I may. So just relates to, so you generated about 500,000 rands worth of sales so far at a 40% margin. How long has it taken you to generate that? And the 650,000, how does that contribute to being able to scale this business?
So, number one, I think the way that we generate our revenues, it's in two folds. One is the labor component of it, and two is the significant portion of it is the material itself. Our minimum order quantity is a 20-liter drum, so we don't leave the warehouse or the office unless you give us a minimum order. And then different clients have got different payment terms, but because it's a new technology, we still want to use them and also to create the content that we can use for our marketing. Sorry, the second part of the question was?
It was about the 650,000.
Oh yes, the 650,000, how we're going to use it. In fact, when I applied here, I was very excited thinking that I'm going to increase my stock levels. But when I learned about how the price is structured, I felt actually there is actually more value to it than getting a lump sum. So what we will do with it is we will sponsor our strategies, our marketing campaign, because our revenues are not as predictable as we would like to be at the moment. If we get a separate injection, we will sponsor that part of the business, and we will also be able to acquire these other skills that we lack within the business, because myself, by trade, I'm an engineer, and there are some aspects of the business that I need to grow the team into. That 600,000 is going to really help us in diversifying the team and bringing in the competencies that we need, and then also sponsor or bringing in the equipment that will help us function in that regard.
Thank you.
Molani, my questions are around the value proposition to the client. Like, where's the commercial value to the client? Has that been defined, that if you use the spray, then I save X percentage or million or?
Yes, sir. So fortunately enough, I've practiced as an electrical engineer in the field, and there is a concept of the Pareto analysis. The 20% effort that you put to save 80% of the cost. From the maintenance and asset management perspective, the electrical failure modes is mainly insulation breakdown. When you have a trip, that means your electricity is flowing in parts of the power system where it is not supposed to flow. Now that leads to downtime. And if you have a certain technique that you need to use, you have to switch off. That is a loss for that. And then also about...
But have you worked it out? Do you use that as part of your sales?
Yes, in terms of the value proposition for the client,
yes,
is to actually prolong or reduce the maintenance frequency. That means they can then calculate what is the portion of that in terms of if they were doing maintenance every, for example, quarter, and then we prolong it to a year. So for the 3 quarters that they do not do maintenance.
And there's proof around that if you use the product, you move, for your example, from quarter to annual.
That's 100%. We have actually proven that. Last week Friday we've done a job on a variable speed drive for a coal tip at Monde Richards Bay, which is the work that we have done last year in November. So 6 months later we get there, we then say, as part, we don't thumbs up, we do a we do an assessment or a case study on specific equipment, and then because it also depends on how much dust did it generate over a certain period of time.
Yeah.
And then we've advised the client that this VSD, you don't have to maintain it every 3 months as per part of your maintenance strategy. You can actually maintain it every year, and then there's a cost of that. Over and above that, say there's
it's enough. Thanks,
Thank you.
Molani. You may leave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bulela, thoughts?
Very technically sound.
Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
Okay, short and sweet.
Yeah, technically sound agreed. Margins seem to be there. As Vicky said, 40% margin. Thing is, it's not tested yet. I mean, the 500,000 sales, we've tested that margin. But whether we can scale it and still earn that type of margin, I guess, is a question. But I can see the application, and I can understand why, if I was in the sort of electrical business, I'd want this type of product.
Yeah. Also, you know, that the thing about the value proposition to the client, and it can save them money. Also, I love the product, and also agree, technically sound. I felt the substance, but he didn't bring that in the pitch, only in the Q&A. And I'd like it earlier for us to feel that. Yeah. All right, let's mark.
Polani, congratulations on your pitch.
Thank
I've
you.
got only one question for you. In your view, give me the good, the bad, and the ugly of what happened there.
I think the good is that I think I managed to handle the questions well. The ugly is I think I wasn't happy with the pitch itself because I stuttered a lot, and I think I left out a lot of content that I wanted to present, and as a result I ran out of time before I went through the whole pitch. But the good, I think the experience itself, it's my first time doing something of this nature, and it's quite a learning point for me, and I'm just happy that I got the opportunity, and throughout the week I learned a lot about business, more than what I have known up to so far.
Excellent. And I wish you all the best. Hope you go to the next round.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, buddy. How cool is Xolani's product? But is it cool enough? Before our judges go into their deliberations, let's find out their thoughts about the whole group. Quite an electrifying session with the blue team, wouldn't you say? A bit of chemistry here and there. But I'm going to ask you one important question, Alan. What is it that the contestants really do not get about pitching for an investment?
You know, first of all, the pitches we've had now were, I think, pretty solid. I guess the one thing, you know, the investors are predominantly interested in one key thing, and that is the return on their investment. You know, so if you're pitching investors, that's something you've got to land, I think, quite hard. That if I'm putting money into your business, if I was expecting return, what is that return going to be?
But Bulela, I've been told before that we're also looking for the jockey. I can hear this thing about the investment working, but aren't you looking for me, the jockey?
Absolutely. I think being distinct in terms of what you are uniquely bringing is very key, but absolutely answering the question that Alan has alluded to. I think it's important for each individual here to leave us clear on their unique selling proposition.
What stood out for you, Alon, commonly about all four of them?
Just how strong. This is so far I think the strongest group that we've had, and
Agreed.
quite frankly, I'm really not looking forward to the eliminations because we're going to have to let go two very strong candidates today, and it's going to break our hearts.
Thank you very much, judges. Wait and see who of the strongest of the four will stay and who will leave.
Are there contestants? It's a big moment, huh? So today we're going to do something slightly differently. I'm going to hand over to Bulela to actually give you some constructive criticism.
Firstly, well done to each of you. Very powerful pitches. I'll give you individual feedback, and as Alana said, it's constructive, so please use it as such. Starting with you, Nothando, you had such a compelling offer, but you didn't own this platform. This was an opportunity for you to truly shine and to be an authority in what you were coming here to present. Work on that. That's a big opportunity for you. Suraj, your to-market strategy didn't come across clearly enough for us. We were left quite unclear on what your plans are as far as that. So that's an area to improve on there as well. Luvo, the agri and fish part of your business, you left right to the clarifying question. So had we not asked further, we might never have known about that. Please move it up. That's a great part of what you've put to us today. And lastly, Xolani, also great, well thought through. Again, authority of the opportunity and owning the space and really being the fullest version of yourself as you pitched there.
So I get to be the nice guy now and talk about all the positive, which is unusual. So let's just start with you, Nothando. Okay, I loved your confidence. You walked in here and you were super, super confident. And what I picked up from your whole presentation, your whole pitch was the fact that you are self-driven. And as an investor, you look for somebody who's self-driven to invest in. I also found that your pitch, there was a lot of clarity in your pitch, and I particularly love the new revenue opportunity that you picked up, and that shows me that you're innovative and you're a problem solver. Siraj, your storytelling capability is really, really good. You told a great story, and so I could picture the problem in the storytelling, and so that was a very, very powerful mechanism, which you use very well. And I particularly love the fact that you've used tech to solve a problem. So there is a problem, and instead of solving it in a non-scalable way, you've thought about a scalable way using tech. Luva, for me, I just think it was a great pitch. It was well-rounded. As Bolela said, you missed one piece, important piece out there, which may or may not have caused you this contest, but a well-rounded pitch that you had there. Molani, when you said cold calling, that to me, that you call customers. I know you rely a lot on marketing, but when you say I call customers, that was a big tick for me, because successful entrepreneurs pick up the phone and they call customers to get clients. So it shows me you're prepared to do what you need to do in order to succeed. And the one thing that came across for me is that you know your product. You really, really know your product. Yeah. So now I still have the unenviable task of making a decision, or we've made a decision, but having to voice that decision as to which two of you are going home. Sure. Every once in a while you get a group where you just wish it had landed differently, and all four of you are so strong. All right. Nothando, you are staying. All right. Siraj, you are leaving. So which one of the two of you is it? I can see a lot of prayers going up there. I can actually see them above your head. Luva, you are staying. Molani, you may leave.
It's going to mess up my makeup.
Well done to both of you. I hope you take all the feedback from both of us, especially Bolela's feedback, and use that in your next pitch. We'll see you in the next round.
Thank you.
You may leave.
Congratulations, Nothando and Luvo. And it's goodbye to Siraj and Xolani, who were both so amazing that I have absolutely no doubt that they will go on to great things. I wish them both the very best. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's episode. Let's meet here again next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. we will be moving on to the yellow group, our final first round contestants. We will also continue with our learning journey as we catch up with Yasmin Ali to find out what pitching lessons she's been sharing with the entrepreneurs. Thanks for joining us. From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.
Well, I would say disappointment is an understatement, but it's part of life, and there's a lot of positives that I'm taking away, and for me, it's back to the grind.
To be honest, I think I could have done better, so I didn't see it as a surprise. I think the winners are deserved winners, and I think they did really well. I got good feedback from the judges, so I appreciated that.